Hi there, welcome to the Dylan Rounds case true crime discussions. Today we're focusing on Cori, who could be seen portrayed as a Dylan Rounds expert. But in the eyes of other people, that's far from it. Other people out there being very cautious, suspicious, and they don't believe what Cori has said about the case. Now, Cori has left comments on my channel recently talking about things related to Dylan Rounds and who's responsible. I've read the comments out, but from my point of view, I've made some counterpoints and valid observations. Cori has felt attacked. Shame. But valid observations were made, ideas were put across. They are not attacks. They're putting things into perspective. Cori may feel attacked elsewhere from other people. And nowadays, anytime she breathes, she may feel attacked. But we need to put things into perspective and be realistic, okay? Whereas Cori has said a lot in recent time in terms of telling the story of the Dylan Rounds case and how it unfolded. I'd also like to point out very brief, but when I use the word story, that can mean a tale of true events, or it can mean false events. Either way, it can apply, okay? I know Taylina previously got a little bit triggered just because I used the word story when making a reference to her and what she previously said. But as I've clearly outlined, story can be explaining a tale of events of how things actually played out. So, you could call this Warlight Wrath language, lesson, class, whatever you want to call it. I do know that with time, I can say things, I can word stuff, and there'll be people around, mix and matched, where they'll hang on to every single word that comes out of my mouth, and if it doesn't quite align to their definition, they'll complain, they'll throw the toys out the pram. Okay, we're done with that, right? We're done with that. You can listen in, you misunderstand, natural selection, right? I use words specifically and I can link them, and at times interchangeable. It's under control. It's not for others. We've seen it. Welcome to those people that are currently watching in the background, lurking in the shadows. And the rest of people who are watching this live premiere, engaging in the live chat box right hand side, feel free to share your thoughts, opinions, reactions in the chat. And also down below, you got any points, questions, additional points you want to elaborate on anything, leave your thoughts under this video. Pinned comment by me, you'll find some additional links if you want to check them out, if you've got time. And you want to catch up on my recent videos, or let's say the one last night, which was actually on the Kenny Beach M Cave mystery. Top right corner of the screen, click on the eye symbol, you'll be able to find it all there. So, let's at least outline what's going to happen today and what we're going to see and why, right? There is a bit of irony to all of this, considering what was previously said, but based on my luck in life, non-existent, based off coincidences, extremely high, where it almost becomes a pattern like it's meant to be, for the right or mostly for the wrong reasons. It will all be outlined. Just make sure to stick around and you'll be able to understand it, okay? So the reason why we're looking at Cori is because she's talked a lot when it comes to the Dylan Rounds case, right? Supposedly has a lot of information and knowledge, but not everybody agrees with it. They have their own points of views, and some have done their own research. So you can say there's a bit of tension, there's disagreements, and fair enough, it makes sense. Now, do I agree with what Cori says? Well, based off the interactions, how one responds, it's not looking too good, right? Am I glued to the original story as told by the family? Will I use it as a baseline, right, to fall back on? I don't like the idea of going down really any rabbit holes or too deep in the Dylan Rounds case, because there's a bit more structure towards it. Dylan's presumed dead. and that Brenner's responsible, that the evidence is stacked against him, right? Murder case, missing person type situation. Is there an outcome? Is there an end? Yes, that's recovering Dylan and getting justice. Yeah, there's an outcome there. You compare it to Kenny Veach, which is open-ended. Kenny is a missing person. It remains a mystery. How are you going to find him? In the desert? Yes. Or further away? Yes or no? How are you going to find Kenny? Dead or alive? Don't know. And then what will happen past that point? Don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows in that case, which means there's a lot of range and room for ideas, theories, and conspiracy theories, ideas, etc. The Dylan Rounds case, it's a little bit more linear. It can make it easier to follow a case like that, a linear one. Now, what we do need to understand, the elephant in the room, you could call it, and to be honest, there might not be one here, but I can definitely make an elephant sound. There you go. Matt Lingo, when Matt Lingo does appear later on, I'll try and do Kermit the Frog, okay? It's unrelated, but I know Matt wanted to hear that, and Dale as well, clapping the hands, okay? The elephant in the room is the fact that throughout the Dylan Rounds case, at times, information has switched and changed within. Could it be by police, by family, etc.? And if they're the people you're supposed to listen to and look up to in the first place, like how you would with any other case, if they mess up, what do? Your hope drops. You may then put more faith into outsiders who are maybe doing a better job than the police. It's happened in other cases, I guess. So that happens. It kind of did with Dylan Rounds. People put the faith into these outsiders and some locals, searching, investigating, who hold knowledge, who go on panels, right? But then with time, some of those people end up being fake as well, or some being exposed. So it's like double trouble. You've looked up to the ones at the top who you're supposed to have faith and trust in. You are left disappointed. Then you seek to another form of validation in trust and listening into the truth. You find that they're fake as well. So then you're left with absolutely no direction, maybe no purpose, no knowledge, very unsure and confused. What an absolute mess, right? So you have to try and look in between it all. You have to try and pick out the truth within certain areas. It's not easy, no. But all I would say to you is, look for the information that comes out and remains consistent, and the stuff that never changes. That seems a bit more concrete. It seems a bit more stable. Look for the stable information. The stuff where it's umming and ahhing and it changes here and there, don't put too much trust in that, right? Especially when the story keeps changing, adapting, or more keeps being added on. I don't know. In the early days of a case, as the story comes out and more is added on, that makes sense because it's progression in a case. But when it comes to later on, and there's not much else coming out, and you get just a random person adding on, and adding on, and adding on, but each time their story changes to the last time, that's just a bit of a disaster. Have I seen it happen like that? To a small degree. But besides me, when looking at Cori, the responses by other people and what they think of her, we need to look at that today. That's the main focus, right? And the reason why is because we've looked at her comments, what she had to say, right? Her thoughts, her knowledge. Whether people agree with it or not, we've looked at it. It's only fair that we look at it from the other perspective, those that don't trust her, those that say she's fake, right? We need to look at it from both sides. Whether some out there like it or not, tough shit. We're doing it from both sides. That's what the balance is, okay? The theme of Cori feeling attacked all the time, we can highlight that very shortly. Anything else to highlight? Yeah. So you might get the odd familiar name and the odd person showing up. We're going to be looking at the comments on YouTube shortly, and you'll see the odd character, right? Why is that happening? Well, I think to put it in short, if there are other communities and channels out there where they might be busy, things are going on, so they can't do live streams, it means everyone else and the audiences have got nowhere to go. So, you know, desperate times, desperate measures, those type of people come here. Not because they want to, it's because they've got nowhere else to go. So it's a form of desperation. And with the desperation, the wrong type of people come on in. It is what it is. And you'll see a few examples in recent time. But comes, it goes, it is what it is, okay? When we look at the comments today, you could say it's a bit of a slanging match. You could say it's a bit of conflict, a bit of drama. It's kind of unnecessary, but it is to do with the Dylan Rounds case, so that's why we're looking at it. If you want to look at it in a better light, so you understand it clearer, what's happened recently and what we're going to look at today, treat it as a form of a public art exhibition. Okay, that's what it is. It's public, abstract art in motion, depicting as a microcosm on a greater scale of other communities out there and what tends to happen on a regular occurrence. Here, it's under control, it's okay. You look at it right now, it seems far from it. But this is some kind of inner but temporary form of art depicting all the trouble elsewhere, and it's collected here like a little shard, a little memory, a little glimpse of what can happen, but it won't go any further past that point because it's under control here, right? Now, some out there would like to be awkward and continue it for as long as possible, but with that comes counterpoints, and that is for those that continue or prolong resistance within, only adds to the statistics here. So if you feel like you're on top, not quite. You're adding to the statistics, you're helping someone else. You're helping my channel. If you don't like me, you wouldn't be helping me, but indirectly, you are. I've seen that with some cancer in the Kenny Veach case, okay? These random people coming on in. Some I've known for a couple of years, just pop in, complain. Yeah, keep doing that. You're not doing yourself any favours, but you are helping me. Why would you want to do that? Why do you want to help someone if you hate them so much? Counterproductive, right? Going against it. Yeah, rethink, revise. You gonna do that? We'll see. So, that's what we can look at today. There's been noise about it is what it is. I'm not in the mood to be doing other creative videos right now. That's why you're getting this. We need to catch up here before we proceed onwards. As for the Kenny Veach video yesterday, that's fine. I don't want to do one today because it's the same theme of articles. It gets boring. Divide it up a little bit. After this video, maybe tomorrow, I can do the Kenny Veach one. Then after that, I can do the Dylan Rounds, Don Hatley response video with the maps. That's the direction I'm aiming for, just to mix it up a little bit here and there. And when I'm in the mood, I go in deeper. When I'm not exactly in the mood or I'm a bit more relaxed, I'll go slower, I'll go lighter. And that's what we're doing today. We're going light. We're looking at it from the perspective of other people out there within the Dylan Rounds case community. Have you seen these people recently or long term? We'll take a look. We'll see what it's all about. Now, what I do want to say, because it might as well be mentioned now, is to do with the themes of Cori, okay? To put it short, Cori has been elsewhere in other communities when it comes to the Dylan Rounds case, okay? So with that, she's not always received the best reception and has moved away with time. By choice, but maybe subconsciously, not wanting to, but it was for the right reasons for her at some point, like Pancake's community. Feeling attacked. To put it in short, with what Cori says and her knowledge on the Dylan Rounds case, whenever she talks, whenever she opens up and shares the truth and the supposed light on the case, if anyone ever questions her, she feels attacked. If anyone ever disagrees with her, she feels attacked. If anyone asks for proof and hard evidence, she feels attacked. If anyone ever asks, how come the family have never backed up your claims, she feels attacked. Whenever you ask her, okay, then what about Justin Rounds? Why has he not said anything then if you're in contact or you've heard from him at some point in the past? Cori feels attacked. That's all it seems to be. Now, unrelated, when you get a lefty triggered feminist, that's what you can get, okay? You might get the glasses, you might get the rainbow hair, the blue hair where it looks like they're a few blocks away from an appointment session with a psychiatrist or something. Yeah, you get those type of people. You get certain lefties, liberals, but the far end, okay? They get triggered over anything and they feel under attack 24/7. Just when others provide constructive points, questions, without attacking, just simply asking. Yeah, the original person always feels like they're on the defense. That could be some kind of problem within, right? You know, there might be times where a person may genuinely get attacked for what they think or believe in or what they say, okay, physically, more so verbally online. But when it comes to here, I will ask questions. I may ask for proof or just some kind of reference. If people get attacked by that, well, there's not much more I can do or say about it. It could be perceived as they have an issue, okay? They have a complex, or what they have experienced from the past and in recent time ongoing elsewhere, they think the same applies here too. That's not the case, Cori. I simply ask questions. I make theories and ideas, and as much as you may think they're pointless, at least they're very clear as to what they are. Pointless ideas will always be safer than supposed facts which have been wrapped and warped with certain words. When you uncover it all, it's just another idea, right? But it's been manipulated to convince people it's the truth. I'm not here with that concept. I've got an idea, got a theory, not 100% for definite, so you use appropriate wording. And if there is evidence along the way or material, you can attach it to it so it strengthens your claim, your suggestion, and eventually, if proven with hard evidence, it turns from a theory into a fact. Others out there are fast-tracking it, okay? Before being able to reinforce it, they just jump into the deep end. That's a problem, trying to convince people. Quite a few out there vulnerable enough to believe in it. Why are humans vulnerable in general? Maybe because they're too emotionally connected to the Dylan Rounds case, so they nod their head too much, or because they feel like they've been deceived so often, they've got trust issues now, they don't know who to look up to or believe in. So when somebody may come along, present themselves in a reasonable way, even if there's a form of manipulation and fakeness involved, if people are easily convinced, they're going to be easily convinced, but they'll be let down once again in the future. You get a casual person come walking on in and say, hey there, I've got an idea, I've got a theory. Yeah, many people may turn their backs on you and think, well, that's pointless. That doesn't mean much. That doesn't fill me with confidence. Yeah, but at least it makes it very clear as to where things stand and the ideas along the way. I said ideas can turn into facts down the line. But at least, even if it didn't turn to that, with the correct wording, it should never be a problem and it shouldn't harm a case. A theory, an idea shouldn't harm a case if you use the correct wording, right? So Cori feels attacked when she's simply questioned. Cori may feel attacked when people go in further. I haven't, so that doesn't link to me. There was a few responses by Cori in the live chat from last night, you know, started typing in capital letters, bit of a Bob Farrell move in a way, bit of a whatever. Caps lock on, you could tell that the tone started raising a bit, because whilst it's only in text format, it is associated that sometimes when people type in capital letters, it's because they're shouting, whether they're angry or they just simply want to advertise or make a point bold, an important point clear, so people see it more. It could different ways, positive, negative, but I think in that case, that situation, it wasn't exactly positive, right? So I've cleared that up. Let's look at the comments right now. Here we are. Let's arrange it to the newest. A couple of comments to get through. Not many show up on screen, but I think there is a thread of responses, so that'll make more sense. We've got clear there. Warlike Ref simply saying shocking can simply mean an unexpected surprise shock. Though it can be a descriptive word to describe BS. That's shockingly bad. That's shockingly fake. You know what I'm saying? These different words, have different meanings in different sentences, but it depends if humans out there choose to listen, for those examples. We've got Glenn there. Shout out Glenn. Cleo, congratulations on 11,000. So I wasn't really aware of it at the time, but I have reached 11,000 subscribers now, which is good. Maybe I reached that kind of quick. I'm not too sure, but just keep on moving. I'm aware that, yes, when it does come to subscribers, just because I've got 11,000 doesn't mean that I've got 11,000 loyal viewers. I'm aware of that. People do come, many do go. It is what it is. But shout out to the people that do stick around and have done for quite some time. We got Sun here saying, Warlike Ref, I apologise. I hope my text did not make any YouTubers who have been rude to you or abusive in the past raise their heads to bother you. So when Sun says text, she means comment on a previous video. So what I'm aware of, Sun, at least from what I've seen, you don't have to apologise. I don't think you have done anything wrong. You've just shared your thoughts and comments, which is normal, like what anyone would do. You aren't the reason for supposed conflict coming on out. That's inevitable. It's unrelated to your comments, Sun, so it's okay. I'll still read the rest of your comment out shortly. But as I said, you're going to get a backlog of desperate people coming on in for the time being when they can't go anywhere else. Okay? So, moving on. What else is it to say? Okay. I meant no offence to anyone. I also apologise to those whose YouTube names I mentioned. I meant no disrespect to them and only mentioned their names out of respect for their following and searching for the boy, nor do I wish to offend or stir up any drama with them. I'm out of touch and do not follow their channels or drama. Forget my suggestion. I'll delete my post in future if I comment at all. I'll not mention other commenters that seem to be interested and in touch with the Dilman's case. Your channel is the only one I watch because your attention to detail and complete control over your channel is excellent and drama-free. YouTube has become such a toxic, unsafe place, it's repulsive. I can't stand hearing people attack each other. Thank you for enlightening me. You're welcome. Now, unfortunately, the comment doesn't show up now. It's because I reported it because, consequences need to be met if people think they can be invincible. There was one comment by an individual, bit of an obsessed individual with me when it comes to the Kenny Veach case, fantasizing about how Warlike Wrath was dropped on his head multiple times as a child and extremely autistic or something. So, don't know where they got that from, but, I mean, at least from what I can feel, I don't have any dents or holes in my head, so something went right. But yeah, there's some obsessed individuals out there, and it dates back to the past, okay? They must get turned on, okay? All this resistance, all these people out there that come towards me, complain, whinge and whine, They must just simply get turned on by the presence of me being a gorilla, right? They think, oh, look at that gorilla. Oh yeah, heavy breathing as well. I think all these people out there just panting heavily, dehydrating, the waters have broken, everything's gone, everything's left the system, water fountains all over the place, okay? Massive cleanup job, true, but it's not my role to do so. So anyone else watching right now, if you ever see people showing resistance over a course of time and it's never ending, just treat it as if those people are turned on by your presence, okay? They want to keep going at you? Nah, they're obsessed. Not for the right reasons. Treat it in a light-hearted way, if possible. Now, was there anything else to mention here? I'm not a true crime follower. It seems like the entire community, except for you and a few others, have become so hateful and cruel to each other, so others out there. I predict YouTube will rid itself of the liability of allowing that particular group on YouTube at all after 2024, but for some reason the Dylan Rounds case drew my attention during the virus and lockdown. Yes, your suggestion is wise. If they have answers to my questions, calling Ellie with their information is the wisest course of action. You're welcome there. Meg's long-time viewer saying, I love it when people take the time to apologise at 53 years of age. I've met people who apologise easily or dig their heels in and never apologise ever. It does my heart good to see it. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. It's none of my business. I just know when I see something good, I'm all over it. My downfall is being physically unable to hate, dislike or hold a grudge my whole life, but it's also my freedom. And then we got, so we've seen that. So it's positive so far. It's looking all good, isn't it? You know, regular viewers, no trouble there. Beatrice, sorry so late watching this video. Been sick for days, 2 ear infections and a nasty cold. I like to listen to your logic. Right, so there's a few people that are ill. The doctor is coming out on short notice without any gloves, without any protection. I know, Dale, worrying times. Can't even trim the nails either. Ooh, but you know what? I think it'll be under control. So it looks like there'll be a healing session later on in this video. Healing, cleansing, disease-ridden humans, you know, dark forces. And then maybe healing people that might have an illness at this moment in time. So we'll try and do that. Now, I think this is where it starts, the beginning of it all, okay? So everybody strap yourself in for a chain of replies, responses with Cori and some other individuals. A person here, I'm going to try and click on if possible, missing pieces of the puzzle joined 8 months ago. I've never seen them on my channel before, but I think they've been present elsewhere and people linked their videos, reposted them because it was shedding light on certain dark areas in the Dylan Rounds case, or those that work on it or have disrupted it. So let's just see what's being said here. So missing puzzle, we'll call it missing puzzle. Saying, again, we see CFL Cori, also known as Cori LeBeau, returning to chat and spreading her lies for attention. Cori is Corinne LeBeau, a delusional woman who did not know or talk to Dylan Rounds or his family. John Sheldon dumped Cori about 40 years ago for being crazy. A few weeks ago, Salty Pancakes called Cori out again for lying about her involvement. They caught how Cori repeats and spins other people's research on this case like it's her personal story. She does that in order to push her speculations as fact and for attention from YouTubers. John Sheldon divorced Cori 40 years ago, so she has no business in Lucin because he purchased that land 25 years ago. Anyone can contact John Sheldon to confirm that Cori has nothing to do with his business. The property records are also open to see public, and anyone can look them up to see Cori owns nothing in Utah. Okay? See what the responses are. If there is any capital letters, I might change my voice to suit it, okay? Cori says, in response to Puzzle, does your family own or owned or improved or built the shed or fences or drilled wells or paid tax or hired workers or still help the rounds? Wait, I can answer that. No, and no, never did you, or never will you, because my family does. For your information, John and I have a good relationship. Our minds and finances are just fine, always have been. The kids depend on me for help every day. Our family works and supports each other. Whatever your reason is for such hateful attitudes and attacks is immature and questionable, when I have never had anything much to say to you. You have nothing invested in Dylan's life or farm, so please take out of your own trash and leave us alone. It's interesting. In certain situations, you got a person demanding or wanting, stay away, okay? Leave us alone. Leave us alone. Has that line been used before in the Dylan Rounds community? I'm just thinking, because I'm sure elsewhere there's been people that have pleaded to be left alone, but then they have gone after someone else and harassed them. I don't know if it rings a bell, other people out there. Now, Missing responds back to Cori saying, you don't either, and you leave John and Rounds alone. There was a recording where John said you have nothing to do with his business, land, or the Rounds. He divorced you 40 years ago for very good reasons. Stop inserting yourself with lies and pretending. Cori says, laughing my ass off. Ha, ha, ha. John just called me a few hours ago about family business and the farm and Rounds. John is over here at least once a month. What the hell is the matter with you? What is your issue? You're not a part of our family or business dealings. Then response-wise, once again, Cori, you never show proof as usual. Where is your proof that you are part of this family business with your ex who left you 40 years ago and the Rounds who don't even know you? Remember when you got busted for making up all your garbage last October the 24th? Twin Mama and Leanne did a YouTube live stream responding to John Sheldon's phone call where John discredited everything you said as lies. John never told you to investigate because you have nothing to do with his business. The land in Lucin or the Rounds, you also never worked with the FBI or police on this case, which is obvious, of course, with your mental issues. You should be ashamed of yourself. Now, there's a link there. I'm not going to click on it because it's going to take me elsewhere. But it's probably the link to what's mentioned above about Twin Mama and Leanne, the video. Well, you got that there. Now, you're not going to see me react too much to these comments or add in with thoughts simply because I don't know the whole story, right? Okay, I focus on the Dylan Rounds case. I don't get my hands completely dirty with all the background blockages in the drains, okay? Missing Pieces says, if you want to see Cori get called out for lying about owning property in Lucin and lying about knowing Dylan Rounds, I uploaded a video where Salty exposed Cori's lies. There's a link there. You know what's most interesting, right? That Missing Pieces of the Puzzle can post comments with links and YouTube doesn't remove them. But if I post comments elsewhere, if I post comments on my own channel, sometimes YouTube deletes them. How inconsistent is that? I think YouTube guidelines are when you post URL links onto another channel, it's deemed as spam, so YouTube auto deletes them. Some people in recent time who've tried reaching out to me regarding an important video, they've posted the link, YouTube removed it, they've tried 5 more times, and then they all show up at once. YouTube is a bit of a dodgy place. Now, response-wise, June says, what's it to you? Leave the woman alone. So June seems to be defending Cori here. Cori says, tell me, missing pieces, why are you inserting yourself and what have you invested in Dylan's life or our family's business? What is your real name, or do you have the guts to tell us all? And then Missing says, because Cori, you're constantly lying, never showing any proof, hurting the Rounds family and attacking YouTubers who question you. That's true, that. YouTubers who simply question, that's all. The only investment you made was creating numerous slanderous lies and exploiting Dylan's death for attention on YouTube. That is what makes you the worst. Do your delusions allow you to have any morals? Larry, Karen, and Dylan Rounds didn't know you. Justin doesn't want to get to know you. You have nothing to do with the farm and business as stated by your ex John, who left you a long time ago and found a better life with another woman and their son. So stop dragging innocent people into your garbage. Cori says, it is obvious that you have an agenda and use your fake name behind a keyboard to hide. John and I have spent almost 2 years now trying to help the Rounds. Truthfully, more than going back to when Dylan decided he wanted to buy the property. I do not have a platform, or as they would say, a platform. Never have. But you do. And the only thing you use that is to attack people and use your fake name. I'm not seeking attention, never have. Only explanations and answering questions. Seems you have zero to add to Dylan's case or any assistance. Other than vomiting nasty attacks at John and myself, our personal business with each other is our business and our family. How about you do something productive in your life other than attack our family, we the people? That's really messed up thinking, my dear. The responses end there, but the thread does continue onwards. Let me just get some water or so. There's a lot of reading today, okay, so it's needed. Now, one thing for certain to highlight. I said, with all this reading, it's a bit of a workout for the mouth, and Classy Colt said, ha, as if anyone would know what an oral workout is. Ha, you fucking challenging me, man. Come on, Classy, the horse whisperer. Yeah, I've got a horse myself, and it's parked up round the back end downstairs. You want me to get it out? Yeah, I'll do that next time, Classy. Be on the lookout for the horse, okay? Horse riding sessions are back in fashion. The bed boy detective is back. We'll see how that goes. But let's just focus on this important stuff first of all, okay? Right, so we've got June here. June says, did I read, we are not here trying to sway opinions one way or the other and evidence. I'm sorry to tell you that is exactly what that viewer did. And now viewers are reporting comments. I guess if people don't agree with what you say, they're wrong. Personally, I think I'm among 2-year-olds. So if I'm correct in saying June, this person, June, is calling out skeptical for simply reporting a comment for misinformation, and June thinks that's a breach of freedom of speech or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, June. I'm aware, June, that you do use multiple accounts, but that's because you are signed in differently or other people use your accounts, family members, whatever. Unrelated, but just an observation. I mean, the thing is, it's important to keep the comments up, okay? So June, Cori's comments are still up publicly, okay? For me to get rid of them, it would cause more problems and more outrage. It's not worth it, right? As I said, people can choose to believe or agree, disagree in what's said. If context can be provided in the background, though, that's what's most important and key. So if a person can reach out or respond back to Cori and say, where's the proof? Or why has it not been backed up? You know, there's no harm in questioning like that, just to reinforce the original statement and see if there's full-on truth in what's said. But unfortunately, it puts Cori's back up against the wall whenever people question her. Does she have the mentality that she expects people to agree with what she says and nod their heads immediately. And I'm sure Cori will respond back to that point and say, you're putting words into my mouth. I don't expect people to agree or believe in me. Yeah, but you repeat yourself and you keep coming back and you keep commenting, so you must be somewhat passionate to shed light on the case and try and get people to believe in it. So there's that motive in the background, but I'm sure Cori will once again think I'm attacking her and say that I'm putting words into her mouth. No. There's a difference between putting words into somebody's mouth and then just simply making an overt observation or an interpretation of a situation or what's been said. I mean, if an individual leaves it open-ended, be aware that there'll be questioning that follows up. And that if a person is quite abstract or cryptic, it could lead to many misunderstandings. You got to be prepared for that. It is what it is. If you're in a situation where you make it very clear and explainable and you do the best you can, and even then, when people misunderstand, well, then that's their problem at that point. But all the other examples, depends how you present yourself. What's the response by June then? Salty Pancake shows up. Is it the real one? Yes, it is. Not exactly developed since then. Anyway, Salty Pancake says, oh, trust me, June, you're not alone. This chat, the host, Warlight Ref, loves to paint the narratives that are far from the truth. It's his job. So, I mean, we could spend a few minutes laughing at that response, you know, the hypocrisy in that. I mean, Salty Pancakes has called me a crisis actor in the Dylan Rounds case. Also referred to me as a trafficker. False claims made. Also said the Dylan Rounds case is a virtual simulation driven through Farming Simulator. But then another time he called it Farmville. 2 separate games. He can't even get that right from his own ideas. No consistency at all. Salty Pancakes, I think there's more room for another peg on your nose. And whilst you're at it, put a few on your ears. Why not? We're not transitioning you into a scarecrow, okay? Your presence, I don't know if it scares people away or not, but Pancakes, feel free to come on in and complain whenever you like, okay? Just like how the rest do. More statistics. But I'll tell you something. Oh my God, June, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, you really, really turn on like a Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Where's the Shack Lady at? Oh, Shack Lady stabbing me in the back once again. How's that possible? American Honey? Yeah, American Honey, I got pegs on my nose. I'm going to be pegging your nose anytime soon, Dale. Yeah, I'm going to be pegging those drains. That's what I do, because I really like conspiracies. I got a really whiny voice. And when I get really pegged on my nose, I cannot talk properly no more. Yeah, I think that's enough of that. Moving back on. Cori once again. This time responding back to, I think, Andrew Culver and Warlight Ref. Double team. What's going on here? Cori says, Warlight... Oh, actually, hold on a minute. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's all in capital letters, or most of it is. You know what that means. These people from the country, the US, is it southern accent, female? I'll try and do a female accent because, it's in capital letters, which means the person is shouting. And if they're shouting, when I'm reading out their voice, it needs to be said in a shouty tone, doesn't it? Okay? Warlight Ref, you have assumed many things along with your PayPal viewers, who use fake names because they are lacking a strong spine, to be honest, and hiding their true identity as they proceed in attacks. I was not kicked out of any show or any platform. I made a choice to leave, basically for ridiculous theories and egotistical personalities. Jim Terry and M.E. gathered info for personal gain and twisted narratives. We do not need that in this murder case or any other case. For your information, viewers, my mind and life is 100% fine. My family works together, always and always will, no matter what. Do not assume that only makes an ass out of you, not me. Right. I mean, Cori, I'll respond back to your direct comment shortly, but first of all, let's just see what other people have to say. Missing Pieces says, Cori, you are a delusional, pathological liar. Stop blaming YouTubers for your lies and grow up. You are almost a 70-year-old woman, not 7. John Sheldon has no business partnership with you. John divorced you over 40 years ago, and he's not going to partner with a mentally insane ex-wife who believes in space, aliens, and conspiracy theories. I've heard that before. Supposedly, Cori's Facebook page is all about UFOs and conspiracies. And considering Cori had a go at me for my conspiracies or my ideas, my theories, well, if she follows theories elsewhere and not the facts, a bit hypocritical, isn't it? But nevertheless, let's just read what's mentioned here. His partner Diane and their son Spencer can also verify you're crazy and have nothing to do with the land in Lucin or Dylan Rounds. It's not a surprise Justin Rounds has nothing to do with you and blocks you on Facebook. Salty and Jim Terry do not like each other, and they both agree that you, Cori, are a lying whack job. Jim even played back a phone call with John Sheldon, who confirmed you have nothing to do with his land or business, and he divorced you back in the 80s. John never befriended Dylan Rounds because he never met him in person. You're a mentally unbalanced, narcissistic woman who hurt the Rounds family and the homicide investigation by spreading misinformation. Cori, you can find yourself in illegal trouble soon for purposely trying to distract and hurt the investigation with your incessant lies. So you could say, is Cori genuine, or is Cori the second coming of Brookie? You remember? My response was, so you were attacked elsewhere. Be grateful that you have freedom of speech here. And that's true. Because all your comments are still up publicly. So be grateful for that, Cori. Cori responds back saying, so once again, you have no spine to use your real name. I'll be sure to send this to John. You do not know our family dynamics or business. You are the one making up sheet. Sheet? That's the wrong way of spelling it. It's sheet. Fact is, you are harassing, doxing my family, putting our children and grandchildren and us in danger, and that is illegal. John and I talk every other day. I am with the kids, so stop with your egotistical lies and attacks. Your past trespassing actions with Kurt Wadsworth is also illegal. Right, so does Cori know who missing jigsaw puzzle pieces is? Because I don't know who they are. But the same about Kurt Wadsworth at the time going on to Grangeshed property with this individual here trespassing. Never heard of it. You do not own the property, nor did you know Dylan's personal business with my family. That's a fact. Fact is, you have nothing invested, nor did you lose anything, nor did you know Dylan. So the money you made off your show and platform from viewers should have pacified you. Simple as that. What is it with all these capital letters on and off? Missing says, you put yourself into this situation by inserting yourself with lies. Please let your ex from 40 years ago, John, know all the lies you are spreading on social media. Didn't he already get a phone call and admit you were not all there mentally? And you lie for attention? The Rounds were never friends with you. You never owned any land in Lucin. John isn't business partners with you. Why doesn't John defend you? Because John knows your lies are bad and embarrassing. You should thank Warlike Wrath for letting you respond freely, even though you are rude to him all the time. Well said. Cori says, what the hell is your problem? John and I get along just fine. We do not have problems. We do know the Rounds, and we did know Dylan, and my family does own the property until paid off, if that is what Larry decides. Are you crazy? I help our children almost every day on the family farm that we have owned for over 200 years. John asked me to find out whatever I could. He's a busy person, so he can give that info to legal help for dealing rounds. So shut the hell up and deal with your own personal mess and trash. Missing says, last October 24th, Twin Mama and Leanne did a YouTube live stream reacting to John Sheldon's earlier phone call where John discredited everything Cori said. They all thought you were delusional and lying. And there's another link there. So what I'd like to do now is just spend a little bit of time responding back to Cori with what's being mentioned here, and I'll just briefly analyse it because it's in direct response. Cori says, you have assumed many things along with your PayPal viewers who use fake names because they're lacking a spine. A lot of people, specifically on YouTube, have usernames. Xbox, PlayStation, PC gaming, TikTok. People have an alternative username because they don't want their legal name as their username, because they may be found more easily, attacked and harassed. It's pretty much common sense to have a custom identity online. The visual appearance, your avatar, your profile, your bio, your description, the lot. True, when you're online you can be anything you want, and that comes with a form of great responsibility depending how you conduct yourself. And a range of people with time that have had custom usernames, I don't know their real names. I don't need to know. How they conduct themselves, though, most part of it is okay. I'll tell you one thing, Cori. Some of the other individuals, not all, but a couple who have been arguably problematic, right? They've had their full legal name, or the first name and surname as their YouTube channel name, right? Okay, they show a bit more of a spine because they're showing their real name, their true identity. Maybe even a profile picture. Are they any better than others? No. Worse. Okay? So there's no consistency there, Cori. You are making inaccurate, generalized assumptions. Okay? So for you to say that I've assumed, you're assuming, first of all, yeah, it's not looking too good, Cori. And you're describing it, Cori, that the viewers on my channel are PayPal viewers. That's not even a thing. PayPal isn't YouTube, right? PayPal isn't a platform where you upload videos, right? I think you're getting confused with Patreon, okay? I don't use that. There are many people out there, Cori, that don't even upload content to their channels online, yet they've got a link to Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, for doing what? F all. Why should they be given anything if they've not contributed anything in the first place? They're the lazy ones. Now, once again, we don't have PayPal viewers here, Cori. Viewers here are YouTube viewers, because it's a person, people, on the YouTube platform watching my videos. A view on my video on the platform YouTube equals YouTube viewers. People don't come from PayPal. Some from YouTube go to PayPal. That way round. You got it all mixed up, Cori. Your descriptions, your titles, your wording is very erratic and all over the place. That's probably why you're typing in capital letters. You're not thinking before you're typing, okay? Now, you say, to be honest, and hiding their true identity, and so they proceed in attacks. Right. I was not kicked out of any show or platform. I made a choice to leave, basically for ridiculous theories and egotistical personalities. Okay. So that's why you couldn't stand it. Did people not question you? Did people not attack you? Did people not believe in what you had to say? Is that the case? So, if you can't stand people who come out with theories, ideas, conspiracies, right? You don't like that. You prefer the truth and you hold the truth. And if people aren't willing to listen to you, you walk away. Why are you still here then? Now, who is ME? I don't know. Is that a drug? I'm not too sure. We do not need that in this murder case or any other case. So, other people out there who may not trust Cori would say it's extremely hypocritical for Cori to say we do not need this BS in a murder case or any other out there when she's done it herself. That's not coming from me, but that's what other people would say in response to that. How Cori has conducted herself and behaved and responded to me, it's not a good look, okay? It doesn't expel any confidence or truth or certainty. And I'll explain that later if people stick around. Anything else? Cori says, for your information, viewers, right, so that's more of a general response to anyone out there saying that my life is fine, everything's fine, it's all okay. Okay? But at times, if a person has to keep repeating themselves, telling others that they're better off or that they're okay, the more you say it, are you trying to convince others or are you trying to convince yourself? Hence the repetition. Now, more of a positive comment. Meg says, hey buddy, I subscribed to you so long ago. That's true, because I could see your good heart straight away. For mental health reasons, I can't watch true crime often, but I know a good heart when I see it. P.S. The UK is dominating in the debunking on YouTube. Beardo, Mr. Grey, Parple, and more recently Mythos. Again, I can watch in small doses, but I do love them, and they do have good hearts. I've never heard of those people, to be honest, but yeah, there we go. So shout out to Megs. Christy says, are we sure Don Hatley handed into the LE all the firearms Brenner gave him? If Brenner trusted Hatley so much to give him the firearms, he could have told him to keep and hide the one he used to eliminate Dylan, and in handing the other ones, in order to appear both innocent. Hatley because he snitched on Brenner, and Brenner because Ellie would not find evidence on the guns. I'll respond back to that, Christy. Cori says, Don retained one rifle. If I recall, it was a 22. For a short period, he said that Ed H. owed him some money, which is probably true. But he then also released it within a short time. I believe he was being honest about it. So Cori saying Don retained a rifle, a 22. I've not heard that before. Might be a reason for it. How the story went in the past by others, and it didn't really change up until now with what Cori has said, okay? That Brenner gained entry to somewhere, some property, and stole a 22 rifle from the trailer. They said Ed Harshberger's trailer. Is that the motorhome at the Grangeshed property site? Maybe, maybe not. And with Brenner being in possession of that 22 rifle, ended up handing it over to Don Hatley after the police and family came on down because of the Dylan Rounds case. And Brenner also handed some other firearms over to Don Hatley. And that's been mentioned multiple times in official news articles, which we've read out, and news reports, all officially stated that Brenner handed over firearms to Don Hatley for safekeeping, so Brenner wouldn't get in trouble. Because of the past, he got in trouble, those items were taken from him. He didn't want to lose out, so he passed it on. By passing the buck on and blame, it could have made Don Hatley a target and been questioned and punished himself. Don maybe caught wind of that and realised, hey, I don't want to be dragged down for this, and considering what's happened to Dylan Rounds, I don't want any part in this, so surrendered them in. It was officially stated within the news articles, news reports, that Don Hatley surrendered the 22 rifle in, did an interview with the FBI and told the truth, which then led to Brenner getting in trouble and getting those unrelated gun charges on him. I think 3 counts or something of gun charges. So to respond back to Christie's point here, you're saying that Don could have received the firearms from Brenner but hid the odd one which was used in the murder. It would seem pointless that if Brenner was going to hand over the firearms to Don, and Don was aware to be able to bury the murder weapon, you'd think at that stage you might as well bury all the firearms, right? You just bury one, okay, that's the key evidence. The others can't be traced back to the murder, but it can be traced back to who was in possession of it first, Brenner. Hence why we see Brenner was taken in. Not because of the Dylan Rounds case early on, but those unrelated gun charges. So it would have been pointless, wouldn't it? Because even with that murder weapon being buried, there was still incriminating evidence elsewhere. So even if an attempt was made, Brenner still would have been in a position where he's at right now, likely, such as with the time-lapse footage. If Don Hatley really cared about Brenner, Don would have not handed those firearms in to the police and did the interview with the FBI. He wouldn't have done that. But he did, to save himself only. If he wanted to save Brenner, too, on top of himself, he would have buried those firearms all together and taken them far away into the desert. Didn't happen, though. Mousetrap, you're welcome. Sergeant Broke, properly good summary there, saying, advice, fast forward 20 minutes into the video if you are just here for the update and don't want to hear a bunch of nonsense. I respond back saying said by a low attention span individual, which is a valid observation. If you're not willing to sit there and listen into key talks in anticipation for the update, well, obviously you got short-minded, short-sighted and selective hearing and a low attention span. You don't want to be here for that long. You want to come in, get the update and get out quick. That's a low attention span. That's a valid observation. Sergeant Broke said, no, said by an individual with better shit to do than listen to you whine like a little bitch. Where does that come into all this? Let's just see. Talking about a bunch of nonsense and now suddenly saying that one is whining like a little bitch. That came out of nowhere, a bit random. By the end of the day, for Sergeant Broke to say, no, I've got better things to be doing. If you got better things to be doing, then why were you still here commenting and responding back to my video then, right? You kind of contradicted yourself there. A little bit pathetic. Now, the username of this individual is arguably quite fitting. Joined 7 months ago, default channel, no contribution to the case, pretty much checks out. An pathetic excuse of a human. But Sergeant Broke back, broken-minded, seems to be the case. That appears to be it for the comments. Interesting. So very shortly, one thing I would like to do is add on to some of that topic and theme within the case and the truth versus the truth. And the individual that claims to know it all or know a lot, but people don't quite believe in him. And that when people do question and say, well, where's your proof? Where's your evidence besides all the talk online? That individual resorts to, you're attacking me. You're attacking me. And that's all they've got. Well, I have a critical post which I created months ago, and it will be of your interest. I don't think everybody saw it, so I can incorporate it here. And as for all the rats and the whippersnappers and the ones lacking whips, whatever it may be, lurking in the background, those in the shadows, those that have got their heads peeping out of the toilet, well, make sure to listen in, okay? The rats, even the mice and the giraffes and the camels, make sure to listen in. Very shortly, I'll show you the post where I mention some extremely critical points, and it's probably one of the most common sense, common logic post out of the entire Dylan Rounds case community throughout all of the years. Pure common sense. So if people are triggered by common sense, get your earmuffs, get some headsets, get some headphones, borrow Miss T's, get the notepads and take notes, or, you know, put the video on mute like Mr. Impetuous would do so, okay? You can still do sign language if needed. As for this will come later. Good things come to those who wait, and those that stick around and misbehave long enough can also experience it themselves. Now, any final add-on points with Cori? I mean, this is the thing, it's kind of a bit of a broken record in a way. There shouldn't be too much triggering if if you say something, state something, and then people ask for proof, evidence, or more, you get defensive. They just simply want it to be confirmed truly. Cori, at least understand it from this perspective. Cori, make sure to listen, okay? Because of the way this case and the way the community has gone, and others out there, it's been a bit of a mess. It's led to trust issues to the point where people don't know what to believe in anymore. So there'll be people out there that won't even listen to you, and that's just because of everything that's gone on. You got to understand that. You got to understand the trust issues and the damage that's been already caused out there. Now, I've not been impacted by that because I've demonstrated balance, I made predictions, I knew what to expect, so I didn't get burnt again. So someone like me in the presence of you, do I truthfully believe in the points you've mentioned? No, I don't think it's strong enough. I think there needs to be more to it. More consistency, more frequency, and more people in line with the same thoughts individually. I've yet to see that, okay? That's a valid observation, not an attack. And as for physical evidence, physical proof, not seeing that. Could it be provided on one's own channel? Upload a video, an attempt could be made at least to try to convince and convey the message. It's not happened yet. Will it ever? Maybe not. That's not an attack, Cori. That's a valid observation. And if it is true that Cori does look at conspiracies or UFOs or whatever, if it's out of interest, fair enough. Well, a person like that should definitely understand as to why people come up with theories and ideas within a true crime case to set the scene to try and understand it for themselves. Because if those on the inside aren't willing to tell the truth just yet because of the way the case is going, people in general should be able and allowed to figure it out themselves, providing they don't harm the case. Okay? What harms the case is where people turn a theory into a fact without the evidence and proof and convince people in it into believing it, and it creates misinformation and confusion when people do find out it's a load of BS. What a waste of time and the damage it caused. That's harmful. It's happened before. Now, just to refer back, with Cori's presence, you could say Cori's presence on YouTube, on my channel, and YouTube in general, she is the turning point for the whole debacle, in a way, with Bob Farrell and how it all went downhill from there, whether it be within that community, with Jim Terry, them kind of splitting up on and off, but then also the conflict towards me and the hatred. Okay? When Cori first appeared on my channel and then started showing up on Bob Farrell's channel with what she knew of within the case, in terms of wording it with a level of caution, understand, Cori, in that sense, was able to pull the wool over Bob Farrell's eyes and brainwash him. Bob was easily naive in believing in it, and so was his audience out there. Okay, you will know what I'm talking about. It also led, at that time of that information taking over the Dylan Rams case and everything being flipped upside down. The original narrative, completely different to the new perspective given by Cori, the likes of Bob Farrell, his audience believing in it, being naive, being vulnerable, a little bit delusional. Typical. Didn't happen to me. I'm seen as opposition. I'd be seen as a denier, a form of resistance, just because I'm using common sense, because I'm a bit more stubborn, a bit more patient, and I think there is more to it needed to prove a point, right? But others out there are easily pleased, nod their heads like a dog. This dogged nature within majority of these creators and audiences out there who have engaged in the Dylan Rounds case is very visible, Okay? Here is the last stronghold within the Dylan Rouse community. All other kingdoms around have fallen and collapsed, and some have imploded. The ruins from some trying to rebuild and structure, but the fractured nature is already there. The shattered glass is there, so that the image that it does portray and reflect in the future is rough, rugged, and nowhere near what it used to be, right? That's what's happened with people. People's personalities have split, fractured. People's inner self has been revealed. And with Cori's turning point and presence on YouTube, convincing the masses, but not quite here, and then some other internal stuff going on and disagreements, then Bob Farrell having a go at me. Tom Evans, the individual that was once on my channel, became a believer in Bob Farrell and maybe a bit in Jim Terry on and off, but there was some scraps, which is understandable. Yeah, so it was back and forth there, to be honest. But in terms of Tom Evans, okay, some defending me against Jim Terry in the earlier days, but then after that, because Tom Evans spent too much time around Bob Farrell's channel, it corrupted Tom's mind, attitude, and behavior. So when you become a part of the darkness, or you stick around the darkness too long, the fumes, intoxication of it consumes you. It alters your state of mind, your perception, your attitude towards others. So when Tom Evans returned back to my channel, he was calling me an idiot, a plank, a prat, basically using terms and words against me all of a sudden, just because I didn't agree with his statements about the Dylan Rouse case, in which Tom Evans, in a naive, vulnerable, brainwashed way, was influenced by Bob Farrell, in which Bob Farrell was influenced by Cori. You see the food chain goes on and on and on. And in its own right, people that spend too long around a certain community out there, they change in behavior, right? It wasn't just Tom Evans. I guess you could say saw it with Linda Cushing, also saw it with Indiana 59. People that were once here, then moved away, and then their attitudes, their personality changed, or that their inner state of mind and self finally shone. They revealed their true form. It is what it is. It happened. But you see the turning point, you see the catalyst. And with that back and forth nature, that's when Bob Farrell, under the influence of Cori and the information there, then kind of called me out. I defended myself, and then some people lost their minds and got triggered just because I defended myself. So it does honestly make me think that the lack of common sense, some people out there, former viewers going to Bob Farrell's channel and community at the time, it would make me strongly believe that a couple of those people that got triggered by me simply defending myself are the same people that would get triggered if, for whatever reason, I, a white male, got raped, let's say by a female, and if I stood up and said this ain't right, everyone gets triggered in the background. Oh yeah, double standards, typical, pick and choose when and when not, it suits them. Yeah, get effed. That is BS bollocks, but that's what happens within this world. We don't need to go any deeper than that, because you can use your own imagination as to expect the idiocracy within this world and humans in general, and attitudes, double standards, hypocrisy, the law. Seen it all in here, witnessed it all in here. It's typical, okay? So, with that being said, let's get back to common ground and a common understanding. I want to read out to you one of the most critical, one of the most important pieces, post, which I've created in the Dylan Rouse case. And in a way, in the presence of the Dylan Rouse community, the community, is probably one of the most critical, most important pieces and posts out there. So people, feel free to listen in. I think most of it will still stand till this day. If there's any corrections, then so be it. That can be adjusted. But let's read out the original post by me a few months ago. Well, here we are. This was actually posted 1 month ago, so there you go. I didn't post it way back in the past when I could have done, because, sometimes you gotta sit things out, you gotta wait, you gotta observe, get the full picture of things, and that's exactly what I did. So, the reality of the Dylan Rounds case, one of the biggest ongoing issues, besides the wave of disruption, gossip, and obvious degenerates creating misinformation from day one, there are experts that seem to know a lot and talk a lot about the case, such as knowing who truly killed Dylan, that Dylan supposedly never went to the shed on the 28th, that bodily fluids were found in the shed, that Brenner is innocent, etc. They speak on behalf of others, for example, Justin Rounds, those that knew Dylan, etc. For example, in quotes, Justin already knows about this and that, calls made in the background to that person who was around Dylan, etc. Yet the likes of Candice Cooley is supposedly left in the dark, such as the key fob and gun being taken by Dylan's brother and friend, and supposedly returned and cleaned of evidence by Larry Rounds, the grandfather of Dylan. Is that a sign of a breakdown in communication, or a lack of trust issues within Candice Cooley from knowing the real truth? If humans are meant to trust these third-party experts and representatives with all their talk and information, such as Cori and others, whether they're from Lucen, Montello, or further afar, why can't the original source, the individual, step up and publicly reveal it themselves and the true story? Why do we have to rely on third-party people? Does the original source of the information rely on third-party people to do the speaking because they feel too ashamed or embarrassed to reveal it themselves? Or are they keeping quiet for legal reasons? Though the latter question would demonstrate contradictions if the third-party people spoke out, thus harming the case, so it's likely not that. Or are the third-party experts taking matters into their own hands and making it all up unbeknownst to the family and friends of Dylan? That's what it does seem like. Experts wish to be trusted, yet no hard evidence is ever provided. Yet we're expected to take their word for it online in text-based chats, comment sections, panels, etc. In addition, from a different angle, most of the truths mentioned, corrected from the original story by these experts, have never been highlighted by Justin Rounds nor Candice Cooley in any of the interviews or news articles. Until this day, no corrections have been made, despite third-party experts at times quoting that they got the information from these key individuals, thus reiterating my original point: why can't the original sources come forwards and reveal it themselves? On other occasions, some experts that have received inside intel from non-family members who knew Dylan, though they never make the effort in informing the family of Dylan Rounds, more so prioritising telling everyone online but the parents of the supposed truth, which is arguably of an idiosyncratic nature. And we've seen a couple of those in recent time. I understand that there are some genuine people present, for example, from my channel and from afar, for example, Weezer, Glendellen, who have tried reaching out to the likes of Candice Cooley about key points, such as the Jubilee truck seen leaving Grange Shed after 3 p.m. on the 28th of May 2022, though unfortunately it was ignored by family members and even police. That's unfortunate, but an attempt was made. It's also understandable that hard evidence isn't always possible or easy to obtain, though my rule of thumb is, if multiple humans can reach the same conclusion and knowledge of truth without any biased influences between one another, individual thoughts, and individual consensus, there could be truth within the info discussed. It's a start, a beginning. At the end of the day, there are exceptions. Hopefully regular viewers understand this post and see the idiocracy of overall situations. Thanks for reading. So yes, we do have a few people tagged here, and maybe it doesn't apply to those people anymore due to the level of silence within the odd individual. So True Crime Deep Dive, also known as Kay Lee. Kay Lee being the individual that basically said what Warlight Ref does in the Dylan Rounds case is nothing special and he only goes on Facebook, the end. As said Kaylee, if you kept your mouth shut and your eyes peeled on screen, you would understand there is much more value than that. The map analysis, the breakdown analysis, because this is what's kind of hypocritical with Kaylee. She underestimates my channel and coverage on the Dylan Rounds case. How much has she done? Not that much, really. Besides giggling, that's about it. But to be fair, it was Kaylee that was like, oh, please, Warlight Ref. Oh, please, pretty please, Warlight Ref. If you're doing Ashley, what is it? The Ashley Martin Easterling, the mother of that, Alex Easterling missing person case. Kelly was like, well, if you do Alex Easterling, yeah, do a map analysis. Do what you do. It's great. Yeah, it'll be really helpful. It'll be a really nice perspective to see from, for a change. Oh, so Kaylee, do you have a selective memory of when things are okay and when things aren't? That back then you said and acknowledged that my map analysis is of value and would benefit the Alex Easterling case and you would like to see it from a different perspective. Oh yes, please ref, do that. I remember seeing that. And then fast forward months later, you completely disregard it all, have a memory of a goldfish and say, oh yeah, Warlight Raf, he doesn't do any of that stuff. No, he only looks on Facebook, that's it. It would make me think, Kaylee, once again, you're in a vulnerable position around people in which you can't think for yourself and you seem to neglect the key points and the past points, which you highlighted back then, but you don't now. You've changed in attitude, you've changed in behaviour. Is it because of who you pledge allegiance to and who you surround yourself with? Is it because you can't think for yourself yet again, because as in the past when you did, you would get attacked for it? Well, that would be very typical. We've got Betty Hayward. Not seen Betty Hayward for quite some time now. Betty Hayward, I guess, keeping quiet. But it's understandable. As a heads up, Betty Hayward, I know you're not watching, but I'm sure there'll always be messengers in the background like Gabriel. They can pass it on. I understand, Betty Hayward. You were once trapped. If you are again, you don't want to go through the same outcome. I understand that, Betty Hayward. In terms of being able to speak one's mind, you may be able to defend people, but you might not be able to defend everyone. If it's one against all, you're going to be in a sticky situation. You've been through that in the past. It can always happen again. I understand as to why there may be a level of silence. It's okay, no pressure. Was there any responses here? Most people agreeing. Sun did comment recently time saying, well said, my silver back. There we go. So that's all good to see. Anyway, key points mentioned here, of course. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below. Well, here we are. Congratulations to those people that made it this far in. As said, all points beforehand and observations made, valid, important and necessary and focused, and a vocal point made within the Dylan Rounds case. Let's set that aside for now, okay? We've talked about Dylan Rounds. Let's put it aside for now. Transition over. I did mention it, but maybe I never showed it properly. There is a red robe on me right now, okay? Is it the same one as usual? No. This one is an owl one, okay? Dale, jealous, not surprised. Matt Lingo, tiny bit jealous, fair enough. Anybody else? Hootwood, maybe. I've got owls all over the place. You want owls? I've got eyes in the back of my back and probably elsewhere too, which I've not discovered yet, okay? So that's great. Now, one thing before we go any further, Matt Lingo. Matt Lingo! Matt Lingo! Can you please come here right now? I heard, Matt Lingo, that Dale recently went to a farm, but didn't quite go the way he wanted. Dale went to an inside room, met with a couple of animals, 5 of them to be precise. Kind of rings a bell, doesn't it? But whilst we've got Classy, the horse whisperer, we've got Dale, who ended up getting milked by a cow. Well done, Dale. How was it? Do you rate it 5 stars? I guess we'll see how that goes. So, what I have here is an old-time whip for old-time individuals and further afar, whether that be the age of a person or more so the experience they have, or maybe lack. Ooh, where's this going? It's going right at you, okay? So first of all, let's heal people. If there's anybody ill right now, you may have an illness, you may feel under the weather, your drains might be blocked, something might not be functioning. This whip is erect, it's standing strong, it's standing tall in the name of we the people. For the first time ever, I'm going to conduct a mass healing in the name of we the people, okay? Prepare yourself, brace yourself, witness the light, or more so the darkness of this belt as it drags against and provides some healing, okay? Not too many. Now, as I stand up, many things stand up as well. Get that off right now. Rip those sleeves. I just want to rip it off. Not quite. Calm down. Hold the horses. Okay. It's got a hook on. Don't know why, but that does not matter. In the name of Tyler. There we go. There we go. We're going to go for an inverted one. That's what it's all about. Inverted, backwards, forwards, the motion, the notion of Watch Your Crazy's vehicle, which has run it over time after time again. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. The people. There we go. Whipping away the cobwebs, whipping them away from your body, from your mind. Whip away the illness, the pains, the strains, and the blockages. Inwards whip. Getting in there with the buckle. 1, 2, buckle. There we go. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel brighter? There are always delayed effects, but you will feel it eventually. It's okay. It's fine. If you need further consultations, book an appointment with Dr. Ref. The door is always open. The hinges are about to fall off. Okay? If anyone has spare oil, that will help. So, we the people, mass healing has been completed. Well, what about the darkness? When it comes to the darkness, it needs to be done rapidly. So with this, you grab it, of course, but the shaft is rather long. You need to climb your hand up the shaft whilst maintaining a good grip. Work your way up to the tip of the shaft, so only a little bit is exposed, popping out the tip, the most pivotal part, the pinnacle of it all, and you give it gentle little taps, and you whack the shaft as fast as possible, okay? You know, like that. The problem is with this, it's so fragile and wobbly that it just goes all over the place, okay? It happens. There we go. There we go. Got a little bit carried away there. I think I had a better technique in the past. It just flops about nowadays. Don't know why, but I'm sure it will change in the future. So I think that'll do for now. If you joined this live premiere too late and you're disappointed by what you see, and you want to hear about the formal, important stuff by the title of this video, it's best advised that you rewind back to the very start and you will be informed there and it'll be under control. We'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching. See you next time, whenever that is. Goodbye and good night.